Back to 15, or De Volta aos 15 in Portuguese, is a Brazilian teen drama about a woman's time-traveling abilities. She strives to find meaning in her existence by using time as a catalyst for change and attempting to affect future events. Anita is unhappy with her life and finds that she has the ability to change it. She is surprised when someone else notices. Netflix brings us a show that plays with the concept of time travel, while also informing viewers of the one principle that all time travel has in common. The premise is that if you go back to your history and modify it, the subsequent change has a significant impact on the future, and what the new reality holds is not known to anyone. Back to 15 teaches you an important lesson. Our time on this planet is ours alone, and no one else's. As the story progresses, several people gently touch on these topics, leading Anita to make the best decision possible. When she finally is aligned with the values truest to her knowledge, everything changes when she finally does. What if you could travel back in time and reach that stage in your life when life was simpler and more carefree than it is now? When you were a child, did you have no worries? Back to the time when you had your first crush? Or when you first kissed someone? Those moments stay with you towards your future, and you sometimes want to hold on to your past and never let go. Everyone hopes time travel is possible, and Anita unintentionally discovers it. Back to 15 is a Netflix coming-of-age series that Janina Takataka adapted and scripted. It is based on Bruno Vieira's book of the same name. Anita is a 30-year-old lady who has achieved nothing in her life so far in this adaptation of the movie. Her cat, Amelie, is her constant partner in her life, and she lives in a shabby apartment with her. Her phone rings, reminding her that she has a flight to catch back to her hometown for her sister's wedding. Anita can't believe she has to go back, and she catches her flight, only to return to her hometown and experience a collective cynicism about her existence. When 30-year-old Anita returns home, she runs into some old pals, rekindling old friendships and memories. Carol, her cousin, has followed her husband's advice and given up on her goals. She considers Henrique, who works in the stock market, her best buddy. When Anita stumbles into Eduardo, Carol's husband, outside the bathroom door, kissing one of the maids of honor, Eduardo starts to hit on Anita, and Carol sees this, thus humiliating Anita. Carol brings the drama to the front of the room in the presence of everyone. Deeply hurt and humiliated, Anita bolts to her room and collapses on her bed. She recalls her blog and opens it to find the first photograph she shot of herself when she started the blog. Anita reverts in time to her 15-year-old self, with the opportunity to choose a new future for herself after the electricity begins to buzz loudly. Anita embarks on a voyage across time, attempting to impact people's lives by being actively involved, while in actuality, it is her life that requires guiding and nurturing. She prioritizes her friends before herself on her adventure, with her best friend Enrique by her side at all times. The story starts with her changing the way a trio of boys, Eduardo, Fabrizio, and Joel, used to make a circle of shame and pick on one person. They would humiliate them in the hopes of keeping them grounded. Anita's advantage here is that, for the first time in her life, her 30-year-old brain is with her. This fact changes everything. Anita strives for the best possible outcome in each of her relationships. When she concentrates on Cesar, her closest gay friend, her life changes, and she has a different future without Enrique forcing her to change it by traveling back in time. When she does, she is mindful of her 30-year-old brain as she experiences day 2 of a new changeable history. Anita makes it a point to be more present in Henrique's and Carol's lives once she has experienced Henrique's absence in the future. Carol is questioned about what she sees in Eduardo. She finally settles on a new goal: to break up Eduardo and Carol's relationship. Only with the assistance of Fabrizio, Eduardo and Joel's friend, would she be able to accomplish this. Fabrizio has feelings for Luisa, Anita's sister, who also has feelings for him. Carol is hit by a car after seeing Eduardo kissing Faye, Anita's football teammate, and Carol suffers a fracture. After this, Anita tries to hide her tracks because no one expected this outcome. It weighs heavily on both Fabrizio and Anita's minds, whether or not they should tell anyone. When Joel tells Faye that Carol and Eduardo were meant to go out on the same day they kissed, Fabrizio's actions are overturned. Anita is eventually apprehended, which sends her into a spiral of contemplation and guilt. Carol understands Anita's genuine motives when Enrique intervenes and assures her that Anita has no malice toward her. However, there appears to be a variable in the time-traveling equation that Anita is oblivious to. Joel is that variable. Joel keeps stating, slowly but steadily, that the way time moves forward appears to be incorrect. He even tries to talk to Anita about it, but she dismisses it. Following a conversation with her father, Anita presses forward in the search for her calling. He informs her that she can't control other people's lives, but she can control her own. In her mind, this gives birth to a new perspective, and she embarks on a new journey. When she begins a chat messenger conversation with Joel on the computer, he suggests that it may all be a time machine. Anita suffers a nervous breakdown, unsure if Joel has figured it. Does Joel change Anita's destiny? Eduardo, Fabrizio, and Joel had always been recognized as the school's alphas. However, each had flaws. Anita gradually reveals their flaws with the goal of improving them as humans. Fabrizio has a hidden knack of sculpting. Fabrizio was unconcerned when his father praised him for his tiny works of art. Anita, 15, is aware that Joel will appear in her life later and that they will become close, but she is also aware that this does not align with her needs. Anita struggles to believe that she can construct a more honest and aligned future for herself. She ponders on it and comes to the conclusion that she must pay attention to her sister Luiz's birthday party. Since he has moved away from Fabrizio and Eduardo, Joel shows up on the dance floor to try to talk to Anita and get her to accept his affections. Enrique is always by Anita's side, hoping that she will recognize his feelings for her. After Luiz's 18th birthday party comes apart and she flees, 15-year-old Anita discovers that her father is unwell. After failing to persuade her father to reveal the truth about his illness, she uploads all joyful memories in order to return to a new reality as an adult. This time, 30-year-old Anita is a renowned photographer on assignment for a high-end newspaper to capture the soul of Paris. When she meets Enrique, a 30-year-old man with high cheekbones and a dark complexion, things get heated. Her life is fantastic, but she forgets about a dinner reservation she made with Joel the day before she departs for Paris. Joel is perplexed as to why he was rejected on his dinner date with her. In a jealous rage, he goes to her blog and logs in as her to look at a photo she took of him when he was 15, flipping the situation and zapping him back to his childhood. This cliffhanger kicks off a brand new Back to 15 Season 2 plot, making us want to watch it all over again to see if we missed anything. The day everything went down the hill, Enrique and Carol decide to go to the party together. Anita helps Caesar get ready for the party. The birthday party is in full swing, and everyone is enjoying themselves. Anita's worried that Joel might be onto her secret and tries to hide from him. She spots Carol and Enrique together and gets visibly jealous. Fabrizio sees Luisa kissing her boyfriend and is upset too. Douglas, Luisa's boyfriend, gifts her a costly bracelet, but Luisa doesn't seem to like it very much. She doesn't vocalize her opinions though. Fabrizio sees the entire thing and is visibly sad. Anita tries to cheer him up, and Enrique sees them together and gets bitter. Carol joins him, and they kiss but decide to stay just friends. Joel spots Anita, Enrique, and Caesar on the dance floor and joins them. He tries to hang out with Anita, but she turns him down. He is heartbroken. Fabrizio gives Luisa a handmade dolphin sculpture as a gift. He tries to kiss her, but she rejects him. Still, on the dance floor, Leo approaches Caesar. He apologizes to him, but Eduardo comes and makes fun of both of them. Leo and Eduardo get in a fight, and Caesar is badly hurt. Fabrizio starts the fight again, and Luisa throws Eduardo out of the party. Anita ices Fabrizio's injury, and Enrique watches the entire scene sadly. Caesar runs after Leo. He begs him to give their relationship a chance, but Leo is reluctant. The pair kiss, and Leo tells him that he is Theo, Caesar's online boyfriend. Caesar is left alone and is heartbroken. Joel comforts him and dances with him. He later accidentally falls into the pool. Anita helps him and apologizes for her harsh words. He tells her that he knows she has a secret and already knows that he was gonna fall in the pool. But he tells her not to worry because he won't force it out of her. They cut the birthday cake, and Fabrizio makes a scene. Louise is very upset and runs away. She fights with her mom, who is troubled by what Fabrizio implied in the party. Douglas is alone in the bathroom when Carol walks in on him. She gives him company and tries to comfort him. Henrique spots Anita alone and tries to kiss her, but she rejects him. He redraws the star on her shoes when she isn't noticing. Louisa runs away from the house. The perfect present, Anita learns about her father's illness and is worried. She asks him if he would like to share anything with her, but he denies it. Anita realizes that she would have to go back to the present and writes a very emotional message for all her friends on Photoblog. She returns to the present. Her current life seems perfect in every aspect. She has her own photography studio and a fantastic house. Douglas and Carol are together now. Carol informs her that she's going to Olympics with her team. Henrique is now a musician and has been living in Paris for the last 10 years. Camila is a famous author and really good at what she is doing. All of her friends seem to have a perfect life. Anita then goes to Paris and meets Henrique. They hang out with each other, and Anita learns that he used to love her. She attends one of his gigs. While watching the stars, Henrique finally kisses Anita again, and she reciprocates. Back to past. Again. Meanwhile, Joel is preparing for his first dinner date with Anita. He is really excited about it, but is stood up by her. Anita chooses Henrique above him, and he is heartbroken. He looks at Anita's old blog and feels stupid for confessing his love. Louisa finally calls Anita in the middle of the night. She tells her that she hasn't spoken to their mother in years. She seems to be having a really shitty life and asks Anita to enjoy hers. Anita believes she is to be blamed for all of this and thinks of undoing everything. She tries logging into her Photoblog again, but is unable to do so. Catching on to the fact that something shady is going on, Joel does the same and can get in. The series ends with Joel traveling back in time, and he is a young boy again. Season 2. Expectations. Anita wins control in Back to 15 Season 1 by making her life the center of attention, but with the cliffhanger, we see that there's a chance we'll jump to another parallel and witness things through Joel's eyes. Was Anita really there for Joel, who stood out from the rest of the group? It also asks the question of how Joel is constantly present in every new reality that Anita creates for herself. It makes one wonder if Henrique is Anita's true love, and if so, what are her options if Joel is her one true love? Would we see Anita's future change if Joel figured out how to travel back in time? Variables are always present in a temperamental equation, as we know. Back to 15 Season 2 should come to a satisfying conclusion, unless the creators add a new twist to show us that Anita and her companions are more than meets the eye. Back to 15 Season 2 release date. The first season of Back to 15 was released on the 25th of February 2022. The first season of the series has a total of 6 episodes. Inspired by a book of the same name written by Janaina Takataka, the trailer of the film has received positive reviews. It has not yet been officially confirmed if a Season 2 is in the making. As always, Netflix will decide the release of Season 2, depending upon the reviews of the first season. The original name of the series is Volta aos. The series is the perfect nostalgic reminder for the early 2000s. The plot is of a small-town teenager who has a big ambitious dream is relatable. Back to 15 Season 2 story. As people, all of us have our regrets. Oftentimes it feels that the only way forward is to somehow change the past. This solution isn't plausible, though. We have control only over our future. The series serves as a reminder to the audiences that some mistakes are supposed to be made. Some things should happen because that's life. We have to make certain mistakes so that we can learn certain lessons. If we could somehow erase all our mistakes and live a life of no mistakes, a seeming my perfect life, we would never grow. At the age of 30, Anita feels desolate. She had left her comfortable home with the expectation of meeting new people and learning new things. It breaks her heart when, 15 years down the line, she finds herself in an entirely different place. She has got few friends to rely on, and is working hard to pay rent of the apartment she lives in. What adds to Anita's heartbreak is the fact that there is no space for love in sight. A ray of hope rises when Anita must go back home for her sister's wedding, and thus have an opportunity to witness her past all over again. The series takes viewers on a nostalgic ride as it proceeds. The show serves as a beautiful commentary, like the Hollywood movie About Time, on what happens when one decides to change things about their past. As Anita returns to her past, she must also face those demons. Anita finds out once she re-enters her past that a nerdy classmate had a crush on her. The story is gripping as it's unique. The series is originally made in the Portuguese language. Anita's character will relate with millennials who are navigating their way through adulting. Anita meets her teenage self on the first day of high school. It makes for a funny experience to witness her tackle those challenges all over again.